Well, good morning, boys and girls. It's Bwana Dawn here, and we're at a special time of year. It's Easter, and here I am. I'm going to spend some time with you. You know, the stumbling gourmet, or the sous chef, Freudian slip there. We're going to do a pickled egg recipe because I know you're ending up with all these eggs after Easter that the Easter bunny left. So I know some of you have thought that perhaps those pickled eggs came from chickens that instead of being given water were given vinegar. No. There's a whole technique and art in preparing pickled eggs. So here we go. You know, this is a very simple recipe for simple people and for those that are culinarily challenged. And looking over at my friends list, I can see, most of you fall in that category. We're going to go into the kitchen. That's that room that most of you never go in, but it's generally just off from the dining room. It's got those big things in it, the white things or silver things. Yeah. So anyway, we're going to go to the stove first because this is where we cook things, right? Yeah, and what you want to do is you want to get a pot. That's that round thing with the handle, and you want to put some water in it, and you put it on one of those round thingies. There's generally 4 round thingies on the top of that stove, and you put it on there, and then you're going to go to the knob thingies at the back of the stove, and you turn it on to high. Now, personally, I like high. It's just a real kind of good feeling sometimes. But you put it on high there, and you're going to wait for the water to boil. Now, how you tell if the water's boiling is generally when it splashes over the top of the pot and onto the stove and it starts bubbling. That'll tell you that it's boiling. So then you want to take your eggs. Now, here's a helpful hint. I know a lot of you, like me, get confused when you go in the fridge. There's a lot of foreign objects in there. So what I do when I get some eggs, I kind of put a little label on them, that says egg, so that way I don't get them mixed up with anything else in there. And actually, if you notice, I color code them, so that way I know that, like if pink is January and green is February and orange is March, I kind of know how long they've been in there. I got 12 different colors of crayons, so I'm right in there. Anyway, what you want to do is you want to put those eggs in that boiling pot, right? And the timing is very critical here. You want to make sure you've got a good hard-boiled egg for these pickled eggs, and the timing of that is generally, I find it's a 1 beer boil. So you put your eggs in there, and you go and you drink a beer, and by the time you finish that beer, your eggs are going to be done. You cool it down, right? So you take that pot off. You make sure you turn that knobby thing off. So it's off, and you let it sit there. And the cooling down time sometimes varies, but I generally find it's a two beer cool down. You have a couple beer and then go back, and you won't burn your hands when you go in there and get those eggs. Now, once you've done that, and you've got your egg and it's all boiled, right? And it's it's hard boiled, but you got this shell on it, so you got to get that off. So what I do is I take a light instrument, and you want to tap it so that it cracks that shell and makes it easier to get it off. So you get to that hard boiled egg inside. So we can go to the next step. So you take that hard boiled egg and you put it on your counter, and you just tap it. Sorry. Oh, my goodness. Let's try another one. I get so excited. It's when I have my Corona juice in the morning, and there we go. Yeah, so we peel that off, and now we have our unshelled egg. Well, the key here, and this is the big secret, you want to get whole cloves, and whole cloves come in a jar, or yeah, a jar like this, and you pop out 4 cloves, and they look like this, you know, kind of like a little protrusion that you may have noticed on some people. But anyway, this is a whole clove. So you take your unshelled egg and you put 4 of these whole cloves, 1 on each end, like that. There you go. And you put 1 on each side, stick it in there. There you go. Now why we do this? Well, we do this so that when you put it in the jar with the vinegar, that it allows the vinegar to soak into that egg, and you don't have to wait so long to eat them. It kind of, osmosis, I think, is what it was called. I have a little recall from science class, but that's what you do, right? So you do that to each of your eggs, and then you're going to onions. You got to get some onions. Those round thingies that got the peel on the outside, you know, they kind of feel like and look like your face and your skin. Those are them. You take them off and you chop them up. Now the next thing you got to do is you got to make sure that you've got vinegar, like this. Okay. See where it says white, and that's not a discriminatory thing. That's just what they're called. You know, I just want to make sure you understand that. Distilled vinegar. Now some of you, you got to spend the extra bucks and use the distilled vinegar, not distilled water. It does not have the same effect. Sometimes when I've reached for the wrong thing, I've tried that. So from experience, I can tell you it's the distilled vinegar. Vinegar is the operative word here. So the next thing you want to do is you need a jar. Now there's only one kind of jar you use when you do pickled eggs. You want to use the big mouth jar. You see, it's got the big mouth on it. It's also called the female jar. But you want to get one of these, and the reason for that is that once your eggs are done, you want to be able to get your hand in there and pick them out instead of using a fork or some stupid thing, right? Because you might drop it or fumble it, or might not be able to handle it. Anyway, so you want to get your big mouth female jar, and you put them all in there. You pour in that vinegar, you put in the onions with the cloves in them, and then what you do is you put it in the fridge and let it refresh itself, let it come to being. And when they're done, and generally it takes a couple, 3 days, then you want to pull them out and enjoy them. You pull those little cloves out of there. You get yourself a few miniature Miller Lights. I like the miniature 24-ounce myself, and you just pop them in and go, and that clears up the problem you had with all those Easter eggs you had, and it tastes so much better, and you're going to have a much better day. Well, that's all from Bwana Don, and I look forward to the next recipe we can share with my simple friends. Bye for now.